let's see how quickly I can get through this little tutorial. On the left-hand side here, you see the Linux directory in which I'm working. I'm going to go actually into data, and the directory here on the left-hand side that is mapped onto the Linux directory. And on the right-hand side, you see my script. I'm going to just go through this and explain the different commands. So we already have installed it. csvkit is there. I can actually just check out with this command if the commands are all there. So I'm going to type ls-l/user bin/*scsv star to find out if these files are there. And there you see they are. And about half of those we will take a look at in this short tutorial. I'm going to close this again and open the next one. Getting at the data, looking at the data, examining are the three things we do. First of all, make a new working directory in here for the purpose of the tutorial. So make directory -v csvkit_tutorial. The last part, this part here, is the name. And the -v just means verbose. So the command tells us what it does. The directory has been created. We can check that. There's the directory. We go into the directory. And here we are. And now fetch the data using the curl command. Here's the curl command, and I'm going to save this URL here, which defines a variable, shell variable called URL. I can look at that variable with the echo command, and I can curl it now with -l and -o, which means current location, remote file name, maintained. Now I put this URL in here, and the file should be here, ls-l. Just take a listing of it, and there's the file. It's a binary file. I can check that with file. It's an Excel 2007 file, so I can't look at it on this display. Now I'm going to close this again. We've got the data. Let's look at the data. 3 commands into CSV. First of all, we want to create a CSV file using this Excel file, which we cannot look at. So here's the command to do that. We're going to type into CSV, name of the file, and then we're going to redirect the output of this file into a new file called data.csv. And because there's an error command produced, I don't want to see the error, so I'm going to redirect the error into the Nirvana file. It's called /dev/null. So everything that's put into dev/null just disappears. It's worked well. Let's check again. Now we have a file data.csv, which we can actually look at. We can look at the beginning. The first 5 lines of data.csv look like this. So if I make this bigger, I can see I have an actual proper data frame here with a header line and everything else. Now this into CSV command, just like all the other commands, has a dizzyingly large number of options. So if I go manual into CSV, I can see all the options that I can use in order to write this CSV file. I don't want to explore them now. I want to move on to some of the other commands. So I'm going to close this again, go to the next one. The next one is a CSV look command, easy to remember. And what it does is it simply takes this table here and displays it as an actual table. So CSV look minus max minus rows 5 data.csv does the trick. And here you see the table. Now it's not very nicely presented here, but you can see the table columns, and you can see the tables, the individual tables. In order to see really what's going on, we need to cut it down a little bit by size, or make the display really, really small, but then you can't see anything anymore. So let's cut a couple of columns out from this file, and this is the next option. The command is called csvkit, and we can first of all look at csvkit It's just like the cut command in Unix with -n, see how many columns we have. So we're going to look at this data.csv file with csv cut. And here you see the 14 different columns. And now we can call these columns by name. So let's say we were interested in the columns county, item name, quantity. We can look at this by name. I'm just going to do this here, csv cut -c county, comma, item name, of the columns and quantity. And the target file is data.csv. Now we could just print this out like that, and that's not very nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the command and pipe it into a csv look, which makes it look nicer. But it's still very long, so we only want to see the beginning of this. So let's just take the head of the file, -5. And that's how it looks like. So we have 3 columns, and the first 5 lines are really the first 3 rows of the data set itself. So you see the commands can get quite long here. All of these commands, as you can see on the right-hand side, can be put into one command. So we don't have to do them one by one. We can actually put them all in one command. I'm just going to do this here for demo purposes. Doesn't seem to work. Hold on. Let me try to copy it again. Seems to have worked. And no, it's a problem with the cut and paste from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Anyway, I think you can see it here. The first one is the into csv command that creates the CSV file. The second one is the csv cut file that takes out 3 columns. The third one is the file that creates the visible table, and the last one shows only the first 5 rows of this table. So that's the second command here. And we're already done with looking at the data. The next thing we want to do is examine the data a little bit. So I'm going to go open that. There's again 3 more different files. So the commands csv stat, csv grep, and csv sort. I'm going to go to the first one. The first one is actually inspired by the summary function of R. So we can type csv stat data.csv. This will give us a lot of information about every single one of these different columns. You can see the type of data, you can see if there are null values, so missing values in there, how many values there are, what the longest value is, most common values, and so on. This is for category variables here. And you can also see similar things for numerical variables, mean, sum, median, standard deviation, and so on. So, and you can see I couldn't actually type this command because the file data1.csv is not known. So I will have to create it and back to my look at the data thing and create this file. I think it was this one. Yeah, you can see it here. So what I've done here in the middle, you can see I've teed off a data.1csv file, which just contains of the 3 columns of this entire data set. So I'm going to type that command since the copy doesn't seem to work. So again, csv cut. Let's see, I want the columns county, item name, quantity, and I want to from the dataset data.csv, and I want to tee that off to data1.csv. That's all I need right now. There's a problem here. Maybe it's that I'm not allowed to finish with this T command. It's possible. No? Oh, I see. Yeah, the problem is that these different items have to be put together. Yeah. So the -c command looks for columns and it expects all the columns to be together. Otherwise, it doesn't know when to stop. So this works. And now I should have a data1 CSV file in here. And top of the file, -5, data1.csv, I can see that I have only those 3 columns. So I can close this again and go to the next one and finally type my csv stat command, czsv stat data1.csv, and I see only the statistical information for these 3 columns. I can, of course, do this also with a pipe, like shown on the right-hand side here in this command. Let's close this. Let's look at the grep command. It's a pattern matching command. You will remember grep from the R sessions. And so the command here is csv grep minus county. I'm going to try and put this in here, but it probably won't work. So I have to type it. csv grep. So look for a particular pattern and look for a pattern in the column county, which we know exists up here. Here's the column county. And one of the values here is Lancaster, as you can see. So we're going to home in on a particular search term called Lancaster in the data set data1.csv. We're going to display it in tabular format. Here we are. Yeah, so it looks good. We can also count the lines. Remember the WC command, so we can repeat this command. If you want to know how many entries are there, we can pipe this into WC minus L, and we see there are 20 different lines. The last one is CSV sort. As expected, this sorts the rows. So we're going to start with by creating another file, going back to the csvkit command. And instead of taking quantity, we're going to take county, item name, so whatever is in the table, and then total cost. We're interested in costs now and sort according to the numerical variable. As you can see, these are all categorical variables: county, item name. Quantity is not, but total cost has more interesting entries. So we're going to call that on data.csv, and we're going to tee it off to data 3. Sorry, another data 2, and have a look at that. Here it is. And here you see the column with the total cost on the right-hand side. I'm going to take that command and look at that data set 2.csv, and for the pattern csv grep c county minus m Lancaster, and turn that into another file, data3.csv, and have a look at that. See, it looks good. -5 data3.csv. Is this what we wanted? Yes, it is. You see the cost on the right-hand side. And now we're going to sort that because it starts, as you can see, with cost of $120 for a rifle. And we're going to take that data set, data3.csv, and sort it. CSV sort -c total cost. We're sorting it by the column total cost in reverse order. So we're going to start with the top, the largest values. And again, have a look at that in tabular format. And here we are. So the mine-resistant vehicle costs way more. Then we have some night vision, image intensifier, and so on, all the way down. And that's it. And the beyond part, I'm going to talk about in class, I think.